Yeah. 34 inches. It's really not high enough, really, but today's topic, hey, let's talk about workbenches and height. Yeah, this is Tuesday because Monday there was the big total eclipse, and there was just a lot of things going on yesterday, so it was like, we really can't put a good video together of any sort, so you know. And one of the things I've been thinking about was there's a workbench that Vibor wants to send in to us, and I was kind of like, you know, I've got workbenches like that. But it had one difference. It was you could adjust the height. There's the cat again. God. And I was thinking that adjusting the height or getting a good workbench, the height is like, it's kind of critical, sort of, especially when you get older. It's nice when you don't have to, you know, bend over a workbench to work on something. So yeah, but what height should you build a workbench? And that's where things get a little crazy. Yeah, so coming up in the near future, there's the Weaver workbench that we'll probably be looking at, but I was thinking about workbenches in general, and just not just the height, but the features. If you're gonna build a workbench, the first thing I would do is probably use 2x4s, because you can go to the big box store and buy 2x4s that are relatively not too expensive. But the other thing too is, the first thing I like about a workbench is whether it's going to be a stationary bench or whether it's going to be on wheels, because I find the ones on wheels are really handy when you can move them around out into the driveway, the garage, whatever, or you just furniture wise, it's kind of like you can move it around to where you need it at the time when you're working on whatever. But the next thing after that is the height. I like a high workbench of about, and I've, you know, again, I'm going to ask for comments and see what height do you like. I kind of like to hit that zone right around 41 inches. 41 inches seems to be like, that's about where I like to be. Now, compared to this bench, 41 inches would be, yeah, that would put you up about here. But it's like, it's just enough that I'm not really bending over to use the bench. And that's where I like that height to be. And most manufacturers seem to go back towards that, you know, 34, 36. If it's 36, it's kind of high actually for a manufactured bench. So when you're making your own, you know, custom, hey, you know, if you're going to build a bench, I would recommend, I'm going to say 41 inches. That would be, you know, the key number to work with for total height. But it depends on whether it's adjustable. Vivor's is adjustable. That's cool, you know. And I do like that idea too, because sometimes when they come in, you could set it to customize to exactly whatever it is you need. I've got benches in here that are stationary, but their height is like this. It's like, you know, that 34-inch range, and it's like, they're kind of, they feel a little low. They just do. And one specific one I have that's from Craftsman years ago, what I did was, actually we did a show on one of them. We put 4x4s under the legs to bring it up high enough to where it had enough height that it was comfortable to work at. Yeah. Yeah. So height's a big thing, but also the wheels. Now the wheels, the problem with the wheels is the bench obviously is not going to be stable, and it's going to be, you know, even if you have locking wheels, they're still kind of, you know, you sort of, you know, move them around a little bit. The other thing I do like with a bench is when they come with a little power supply on the side of them, such as what Weaver shows there. The drawer thing, I don't know. I'm kind of, you know, on the fence about that, because the drawer thing is sort of, it's handy, it's nice to have. But at the same time, a workbench, you don't necessarily have to have drawers. In fact, the 2x4 one I've got over here with the CNC machine sitting on it, it has no drawers. It probably could use them because I could keep all the CNC hardware and accessories in that drawer with that bench. It would be kind of a, you know, stationed area where it's like, okay, that's what it's for. It doesn't do anything else. So I like a flexible workbench at times too. And having the back wall of the bench with, again, like Weaver's, where you can hang some tools and have a light over you. Those are, I think those are key things. So when you're building a bench, these are, you know, these are things to think about is, you know, wheels or no wheels, the height, also the top. A good hardwood top is of course the best thing. And those are hard to find. In the good old days, we used to find a wooden door, yeah, an old wooden door that was solid, you know, the real thing. And a lot of times we'd cut those down and make a workbench out of them if you could find them. Today's doors are full of cardboard and fill and whatever. Yeah, they're just not workbench material anymore. It's a shame because those were fun times when you could cut a door down to make it work. You could actually, if it was a nice big door, you could make 2 workbenches out of that bad boy. Oh, yeah. Those days are gone. And in fact, this one here, I made it out of that melamine, another problem stuff. And I had to buy that at Lowe's at the time and cut it down to where it would fit the benches. And I actually used it on 3 of my workbenches. It was enough material to make, do 3 benches out of a 4x sheet of that stuff. And that stuff was, I'm looking at it right here. I think it's I believe it's a 1 inch thick. 4x8 when I cut it, and yeah, the saw did not like going through it, but it was like, it makes a nice top. But it's a very durable top, and it's, even though it gets banged up and you drop gas or whatever on it while you're working on your chainsaw or something, it was kind of like, well, that's what it's for. That's why this thing is here. Beaver's is got a nice hardwood top on it that's like a butcher block kind of style, and it's not bad. It's the other thing I like with a workbench is overhang from the frame of the bench. And the overhang is really good because if you decide you need to go on a corner of the bench and you use like clamps and stuff to clamp stuff in, it's really nice to have that overhang to be able to use like a C-clamp or something like that to clamp a piece of wood down or something that you're working on, or project of whatever it is you're dealing with at the time. Those are the key things. Now, the length of the bench, generally I like 4 feet or longer, depending again on what that bench is really geared towards. So if you're going to build a bench, I guess one of the things you really need to think about is what's going to be on top as far as items go, because sometimes 4 feet will get you by most things, and then sometimes you could use 5, or even I think Beaver even has one that's adjustable, and I believe it's a 6-foot bench. I've never had a 6-foot one, but that would be pretty cool. Yeah, have 6 feet of bench, because at that point you could probably put a toolbox up there with you as well and have enough space to still have access to the rest of it. So a lot of thought going into just building a workbench. It's amazing how many variables there are in a workbench, and these are things that for planning, before you actually get the 2x4s and the saw and start, making something. Last thing too is working on a workbench. Of course, it's always nice to have a good empty one. Is this way, the top. Now, the best one I've got that I made to date was it's 48 inch by 26.5. So yeah, I was thinking about 30 inches to tell you the truth, because it was going to be a project bench where I would put whatever I'm working on that bench, work on it till it was finished, get it off the bench, and the bench would always be empty. So when you brought something in that you're going to be working on for a project, you could put it on that bench and it would always be empty. Right now, this is the one. I've got 8 workbenches. Okay, yeah, 8. And only 7 are full of stuff. Yeah, this one here is the only empty one in the whole place. It's like, and I try to keep this one clear because this is where a lot of times the projects will come. Even the Beaver roll-around one that I had showed you last year, it's out in the barn right now, and there is stuff piled on top of it. Of course, that's the way they seem to operate. I'm sort of talking about this because I've heard a couple of people talking about building workbenches this past weekend, and they were looking for ideas, advice, and size, and whatever. So, and I thought, we could share a little of that, and comment below if you have a certain one that you like or something, or a certain size besides the height. I would like to at least have 24 inches in most workbenches. This one here doesn't have that. And the reason for that is it just seems like a lot of my project stuff that comes in a lot of times needs 24 inches to sit on. If it's wider than that, it's even better, because you can put a toolbox up there and still have quite a bit of room in front of you, to where you can put your project that you're going to be working on or repairing or building or whatever it is you're doing. This bench here is a wood bench, and of course also has the vise. And any workbench that's going to have a vise should not have wheels. This one has wheels, but the wheels kick up out of the way and she sits down on her skids. So she's real stable. She won't move. That's fine, and I showed that wheel kit too, and I really liked it because of just for that reason. When you set her down off the wheels, she's solid. She's more like a proper workbench sitting on the floor. Won't roll around, or move around. If you start hollering on, if you have a vise and you start pulling on it or something, the bench, you don't start chasing the bench across the floor. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. The 24-inch to me is about the right size. So a 4x24 or 5x24, something like that for top is good. I've also bought the butcher block tops that they sell at Lowe's, and they're not very good quality, and they bang up easily, they dent easily, they scratch badly, and they're not overly strong. So be warned, you know, because I've actually bought a couple of those. I've got a couple of those kits that I've brought in here. In fact, one of my benches, a tall bench right now, it has that butcher block top that's from Lowe's. And I think you pay, it's a pretty good price. It's an attractive price. That's probably the reason I bought it, because I'm cheap, you know, and I saw it and was, I guess that'll make a good enough workbench for me. But I really quickly discovered it gouges up easily, and as soon as you put something or drop something on it, it just tears up. So it wasn't, you know, it was like, it's not necessarily, it doesn't make a great workbench. But this does. I really like the way they did this one. This is a hardwood, so, and it's obviously it's scratched and banged up and dented and whatever, but a lot of projects have gone through, so, you know, it's got character, I guess we'll say. And there's a character that owns it, you know. But, this one coming in from Weaver should be interesting. I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping it'll come in quickly, because I'd like to get that on the show so we can take a good hard look at the Weaver one. The other problem I'm seeing right now out there, and the reason why I'm saying buy 2x4s and maybe build your own, is prefab workbenches, price-wise. Man, I can't believe what they're $250, $300, $400, $500, and they're just, you know, tin and some, you know, they're real basic workbenches, but they are asking some good money for them now. It's kind of it's not like the good old days where a workbench for 50, 60 bucks out of a box, you put it together like a you know, kind of like came from IKEA or something, furniture store, and you put it together with some glue and screws, and you know, you had a workbench. It was like, yeah, this looks like those days are over. In fact, this one here, I think this was Harbor Freight, I believe, that put these on the market. And from what I've understood, Harbor Freight pulled these. I don't even know if they're offering one anymore. I was going to check on that. Yeah, there's the replacement, the Yukon. This is the Windsor. This is it predates the Yukon apparently. But the Windsor is a little different. It has only one big single drawer on the bottom and two drawers on top. I don't see much else that's really different about it, except the price. It's higher than it used to be. With the coupon, sometimes the Windsor, you could get it for something like $99 or something. It was like wow, you know. But again, those days are gone. The Yukon, I see it for $179, but I guess if you look for a coupon deal or something, maybe you can get it for a little bit less. This is a great workbench for woodworking, but it could be for anything. But really, I love it because it inspires me when I am doing woodworking, that I have a woodworking bench just for that reason. And so it's kind of cool. I really can't explain it really well, but it inspires me to be creative and enjoy my woodworking time with the bench. So there you go. Yeah, weird. Yeah, we've got tons of stuff coming in for show, for reviews that are tools, but I think all of those tools are in a container on a ship that hit a bridge in Baltimore. I'm pretty sure that's where it's all tied up right now. We've been waiting weeks for stuff to come in that's supposed to be on its way in. So yeah, we'll get to that stuff when it comes in. Meantime, I guess I better leave you alone. And give me some comments about workbenches and what you like or whatever. Love to hear from y'all. Meantime, I'm out of here. Yes, thank you for watching Coffee and Tools. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the notice bell, and keep an eye out for stuff that we give away. I'm out of here. Over and out.